writing down, I think we're on page 11. So that was, remember we did graphing vertex form, example, graphing standard form, example. So here we are, we're on 10, 26, 21. This is page 11. We're going to do how to graph factored form. Right? Give you a chance to catch up just a little bit. This is the function we are going to use is x squared minus 5x plus 6. Make sure that's up there on the screen. Okay. Now, step by step. Told you we'd do this. So number 1. First, factor the function. Because this will actually work, it'll work in trinomials and cubics. You just need to break it down into binomials. Now if you can't remember how to do that, that's okay too. I'm going to add a little note here. If you're really good at factoring and you remember, great. If you're not, let's just remind ourselves. We want to find two numbers that multiply to get positive 6, and we want to find two numbers that combine together, these same two numbers, to get negative 5. So if you need the x, remember that. The 6 goes on the top. And some people use that, or box method, or whatever. You know what it is, Jack?
Yeah, negative 3 and negative 2.
All right, so these numbers are negative 3 and negative 2. Martino also had it. They can be switched, it's fine. But so we're going to rewrite it like this. So f of x is now 2 factors of x minus 2 times x minus 3. So those are, as we mentioned, X intercepts. So now we're going to plot the X intercepts. Okay? These are also called zeros. So I'm going to throw that in there as some vocabulary. If somebody says 0, that means X. That means you're looking for where it crosses the X-axis. And so in order to do that, I set the y equal to 0, and I use the zero product property to get x equals 2 from here and x equals 3 from here. And so what that means is the point 20 and the point 30 is on my graph. Okay, those are my x-intercepts. Now before I draw my graph, let's continue. The next step is find the axis of symmetry. I can do all this before I go to the graph. And the axis of symmetry, remember, is in the middle. So we're going to find x equals, we're going to add the 2 and the 3 together and divide by 2 just to find the middle. Of course, you can see it, right? What is that number? What's halfway between 2 and 3? 2.5, right? Or you can do 5 over 2. Sometimes you can just eyeball it, and that's good. But if you can't, use that little formula. Add them together, divide by 2. So now I know where my axis of symmetry is. Then, the next step, again, before I draw my graph, I need to find the vertex y value. So I'm going to plug by plugging in x equals 5 over 2. And again, this is where we're going to use our calculator. But I'm going to write it down. F of 5 over 2 equals, you go back to the original, right? So it's 5 over 2 squared minus 5 times 5 over 2 plus 6. I have no problems with you using a calculator on the test. You just can't use your phone. Okay? So I grab my calculator, and you can just type it directly in. If you don't know how to do that, I'd be happy to show you, but you just type it in just like that. So parentheses, 5 over 2, parentheses squared, minus 5 times parentheses, 5 over 2, parentheses, plus 6, and I get this number, negative 1/4. So now my vertex is set, so it's negative 1/4. My vertex is 2.5, right, 5 over 2, and negative 1/4. Yes, am I down farther? Yeah, always tell me when I'm not, I got a new camera, it's not always in the right place. Okay, but now I have my vertex, my axis of symmetry, where it hits the x-axis, I can draw a graph. I'm going to draw a graph. This is going to be 2 and 3, and it doesn't go very, very far down, so I'll put them like in the first quadrant. I'll do it like here. See if I can make this pretty. We'll make a little pretty graph. Graph paper would be beautiful, but I don't have it right now, so let's go here. First quadrant. Ruler is a very handy thing. All right. So now we can put stuff on there, right? Let's see. First, we're going to put 2, 0, and 3, 0. You know what I should do? I'm going to mark these 1, 2, 3, and make these big. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 1. That way I can fudge a little here. So, okay. 2, 0 is a point. Can you see it? Okay, I'm going to move this up. Better? Okay, so 2, 0 and 3, 0 are my X intercepts. My axis of symmetry is 2.5. So I'm just going to put a little so I can see where that is. My vertex is 2.5, but it's down just a quarter, negative a quarter. So if that's a half, then a quarter's like here. All right, so after our example, do you remember the other freebie, really nice, easy point we can get here?
0.
Which one? What do we want for 0 now? In other words, now we're going to get the Y-intercept. Good job, Jack. Y-intercept by plugging in x equals 0. Plugging in x equals 0. So again, we go f of 0 equals 0 squared minus 5 times 0 plus 6. Ta-da! So 0, 6 is also on our graph. That's 5. 6 is going to be way up here. But because I have 0, 6, what other point do I get? Right, so look, it's from 0 to 2.5. 0 to 2.5, so symmetrically, it's going to be over at 5. Right, so you double that. It'll be just the same distance. So it'll be 5, 6, which is right up here. Now, if you want to, obviously, you can do another point in between these. So if I did want to plug in 1, again, just use your calculator for that, and you would get 1, 2. So I'm going to add that in there. If 1 is away from there, then this is going to be over here at 4. Again, so those are just, if you figure out one of those, you get that other one. And you have enough to make your happy graph. Wee-hee! Smiling. Okay, smile and then just connect them. And this one goes fairly steep, so you just do the best you can. See how that color makes it look really nice? I always have lots of colors available for you to use. Really wasn't a ton of work, was it? You think you could graph in factored form now if I give you like an example and I say graph in factored form? That's as much as the notes are.